In the last tutorial, I talked about merging patches. Once you start merging patches, you're actually creating custom patches that don't exist until you create them. Now, once you create a custom patch, you may say, hey, I really like that. And you may like to come back to that later on in another session or another project. So I want to show you how you can save your custom patches. I'm going to just start first with this fig leaf. Let's see. Gonna bring in my typing keyboard. Just sounds like that right now. Let's modify it a little bit. I don't know. Let's open up the plugin, and it's using the EFM1. And I'm gonna go in here and just change the sound to, let's see, this evolving lead. That's a little loud. Let's turn that down some. And let's make some changes in here. I'm going to go back to modulation. Let's do something a little bit different. Let's put the let's try a ring shifter on it. Go to a preset in here. Let's do something crazy. Crazy LFO sounds fitting. All right, I'm going to change the delay to a stereo delay. And let's look at this first send. Let's go into Space Designer. Let's change it from a vocal place to something else warped. Like, let's go here under speakers and do a amp cabinet 21. I'm going to turn this up quite a bit. This is what it sounds like without that. All right, so I've created something very different from what was originally called Fig Leaf. So now, let's say I want to keep that. I want to use it again. I love it. Let's say, go to the bottom of the library. I'm going to click Save. And this is where I get the opportunity to name my patch. Now, it's important to know where the patches are saved at. And maybe you want to take some patches with you to another studio. This is under my login, Atlanta Logic Trainer, under the music folder, then under audio music apps, under patches, and then under instruments. And I'm going to name this one Spooky Lead. Put my initials after it. Say save. So now it's called Spooky Lead BE. And I have a new category called user patches. And under user patches, I see that. I can always come back to it. So if I create another software instrument track like such, go into user patches. Let me close out these plugins. Go into user patches, Spooky Lead BE, and I have it back. Now let's try one where we start from scratch. So Command Option N will give me dialog for a new track. I'm going to start with an empty channel strip. And this time, instead of using a built-in software instrument that comes with Logic, I'm going to use a third-party instrument. So I'm going to go here to the instrument, and I'm going to choose under AU Instruments, Air Music Technology, and I'm going to choose Hybrid. The Hybrid plugin comes up. I'm going to go in here and choose a, let's see, moving pads, random riches. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, now let's go to some audio effects. Maybe I'm going to compress this one a little bit. I'm going to audio units. Again, I'm going to use some third-party stuff on this one. I'm going to go to my universal audio stuff, and I'm going to go down and choose my favorite LA2A. crush it quite a bit here. Okay, now maybe we go here and add a little bit of, just want to damage it a little bit. Go into distortion, choose the bit crusher, distortion. I'm going to bring my resolution up quite a bit. And then I'm going to downsample it. Adding in some grit, go to the bus. Let's just use something that's already in here. I'm going to use this large plate. Turn the send up on that a little bit. Okay, so now I've created this new patch, or right now it's not a patch, it's just a new software instrument track. I'm actually going to give it an icon here because the icon is also saved with the patch. I'm going to control click here. Let me hide my plugins. Try that again. And let's see, what would that look like? Some type of keyboard. Let's do something like this. All right, and now I want to save it. Now, before I go to save it, I got to pay attention to these arrows. I mentioned them earlier. This arrow is pointing right to the hybrid plugin. So it's only going to save a patch for the hybrid plugin or a preset. We'll talk about presets versus patches in a tutorial coming up. So I'm going to make sure it's pointing up here to the very top of the channel strip where it says settings. And now in my library, I'll go to the bottom, click save. Let's call it random wealth. All right, and if I say save to that, it goes into my user patches. Again, if I get rid of it, create another software instrument track, go to my user patches, random wealth, all the third-party stuff comes in. I have my hybrid, my universal audio, and of course, my bit crusher that comes with Logic is all in there. Still sound the same. Now, if I ever wanted to delete one of these patches, like I've just randomly made these up, I want to get rid of them, I'll just make sure that they're selected in the library, go down here and hit delete. It'll ask me, do I want to delete it? Yes, I want to delete it. Do the same thing here, delete, and now those patches are gone. In the next tutorial, I'll introduce you to default patches.